This is Turmeric Arroz con Pollo, or Spanish chicken and rice, and I'm going to make it in a stock pot, but you could also use a crock pot or Instapot if that's your go-to method of cooking. So we're going to bring a pot to medium-high heat, add a little bit of olive oil, add in the onions, add in the peppers, and I've got orange and red peppers. The recipe just calls for red peppers. I also have some leeks, so I'm going to throw them in there, but just use onions if that's what you got. Add a little salt, that helps them cook and gives them some flavor, and then cook that for 4 to 6 minutes or until it's translucent and the veggies are soft. Make a little hole in the middle of the pan and add the garlic, and you're just going to cook that for 1 or 2 minutes or until it's fragrant. You might need a little bit more oil to facilitate that cooking. You don't want it brown, you just want it to be fragrant and a little soft. So I'm going to mix that all around after a couple minutes of cooking, and then add in the spices. And you want the spices to integrate fully into those veggies before you add any liquid to the pot, because then the spice will just float. So now we're going to add in the capers and the tomatoes. I'm using fire roasted tomatoes today, but stewed tomatoes are beautiful. If you don't have that, canned diced tomatoes, it's fine. Chicken broth, and then I've got some salt and peppered chicken thighs. This is going to cook for about 45 minutes. You're going to bring it to a boil, reduce the heat, and simmer it. So now this is done. You can see this is pretty liquidy. It's going to thicken up tomorrow, and it's going to be beautiful. But you can see here that the chicken thighs just fall apart. They're really moist, really tender. The next day you can serve this with eggs, and then poach your eggs in the sauce. It's really good. But we're going to serve it with a yellow Spanish rice. So this is just a smaller little pot. We're going to bring it to medium-high heat, add some olive oil, and then add the onions and carrots. You could probably just use frozen onions and carrots if you don't want to chop them, but I don't do that. So I'm just going to add a little bit of salt to help that cook and flavor it a little bit. Try not to get that turmeric in there yet. Cover it and cook it for 4 to 6 minutes at a lower heat. You just want it to steam. You don't want it to be brown. And then at that point, you're going to add in the turmeric, and that's going to give it that beautiful color. You could also use saffron if you have a fat bank account, but most of us don't, so we're just going to use turmeric. You're going to put a little oil in there if you need it, or butter, and then add the rice. So stir the rice in it before you add the liquid. As you add the liquid, the general ratio for rice to liquid is 1 to 2. The more rice you cook, the less water you need. So that's usually a lot of problems with rice being starchy or overcooked or undercooked. But that's cooked for about 20 minutes, and I don't disturb the rice. I don't rinse the rice, but I make this divot after about 15-20 minutes, and I'm looking to see if there's any water, if it needs to cook longer. I'm going to taste it to see how it is. I can see that there's no water at the bottom of this, so I'm going to put the peas in, and those are defrosted or mostly defrosted, and then I'm going to steam those and set that aside for about 10 minutes undisturbed before fluffing. So here they're a little bit frozen, but they're mostly defrosted, so I'm just going to mix it into the hot rice, and those peas will keep that vibrant color and still be really fresh. Pull gently away from the sides and fluff the rice, and then just spoon it into a bowl. There'll be a little bit of crust on the bottom, and that's okay too, because in many cultures they love this crispy rice. In Spanish it's called socarrat, so don't fear it if you've got some crunchy rice at the bottom or integrated in your rice. Serve the chicken over the rice and find the recipe at eatsimplefood.com.